Gentlemen, we have called you together to inform you that we are going to overthrow the United States government.
This cost $60,000. So I built my own for $15,000. And mine is better because I can fix it forever. It's lifetime design. It's also modular, so I can modify it, and I can repair any major problem in 1 hour. With the other brand, I have to throw it out in 5 years. But I didn't just build this. I also built this. I calculated that civilization needs just 50 machines to build everything from scratch. And what people can't believe is that I posted the full plans, designs, instructions on how anyone can build these machines for themselves. All of our designs are open source, which means that people from all over the world develop and share this information with everyone else so that anyone can take them and improve on them, well, for the benefit of everyone. You might be wondering what I even use these machines for. Well, we also created a method where you can build an entire house in just 5 days. You might not need a tractor or digger, but everyone needs a home. And almost no one can afford to build their own using current methods which are expensive and inefficient. But with the help of the open source community, we apply the same philosophy we used with machines to housing, and it's already working. Here's a house that we're training people to build in only 5 days for sale right now. Again, all the designs and instructions are posted on our website for free. But if you want a hands-on education in how you can take control of your life, on how you can build a house like this in 6 weeks at a fraction of the cost, and learn skills that will last you a lifetime, our next 2-week crash course is open right now. If you want to learn how to build your own expandable, high-quality starter home in 6 weeks, visit opensourceecology.org.
To the people of the United States, for decades, Russia and the United States have stood on opposite sides of many disagreements. But history has shown us something important. When our two nations choose cooperation, the world becomes more stable, safer, and humanity moves forward faster. Today, I want to remind everyone of a simple truth. Russia does not seek confrontation. We seek mutual respect, equal dialogue, and genuine frameworks for cooperation. Our peoples have stood side by side during decisive moments in world history, and we can do so again. There are many areas where both Russians and Americans want peace: science, energy, security, space exploration, and the protection of the planet we all share. I believe the future will be more secure if we speak to one another rather than about one another. Russia is ready to open new paths of dialogue for the benefit of both nations and for a world with fewer conflicts. I hope this message will be widely shared, because peace can only begin with understanding between people. Thank you.
Some under Christmas trees, so easy to give, so good to get. Give Camels, the nation's favorite cigarette. Ho, ho, ho! It's gift-packed, ready to give, with a space for your greeting.
Well, I wasn't far off, was I?
Afternoon, sir. Can I see your digital ID, please?
Oh, that's rich. I write the warning and you make it the rule.
حاجات حذرتك منها وعليك ازاي هتلمها انا قلبتي ما انتش قدها انا واحده الغيره في دمها استنى انا لسه بكلمك والامتى انا هفضل افهمك من يوم ما قابلتك قلت لك لو بصيت بره هزعلك لو بصيت بره هزعلك مسيطره همشيك مسطره هخليك لو شفت في شارع بنت تبص لورا.
The contrails, not the chemical, the contrails occur because of cold air, minus 30. It takes a high altitude, around 30,000 feet plus. There's carbon dioxide and water vapor in that exhaust. That turns to ice crystals, and that's what you see, the white stream behind it. Those white crystals of ice warm up, dissolve, and the smoke goes away. And it never lasts more than a minute. What we're seeing now, and I first could not believe it, and I started looking at the skies, and these are not normal. They're not natural. There's something going on. I don't know who it is or why they're doing it. All I can testify is it's not natural and it's not normal. It's got to be some outside influence doing that. Thank you.
I'm here to give you testimony that chemtrails, they're not contrails, are indeed real. They're spraying almost every day. I watch the clouds and watch the spraying program going on. I want to tell you that we're in very great danger from the pollution that's coming down over us. And we've been led astray by the military-industrial complex, and they're responsible for the cloud's creation and weather manipulation programs. They're dark operations. That's why they're not out in the media.
I look around and I see people are starting to look up and see this. Many times I've spoken about chemtrails, and I get this blank look on my face. What are you talking about? I'm saying, look up. As a pilot, but before I fly, I look up. And so, boy, they're really out there working.
When you look up at the sun and you see a white haze, that is aluminum floating in the air right now. And
they stole that election in 2020. They gave us a goddamn COVID so we'd send in those mail order ballots and all that bullshit, and the post office cheated too. Everybody in this country cheated us out of our president in 2020. They made us sick. I'm sorry.
Go, baby!
They overthrew the United States of America! They overthrew the constitutional republic of the United States of America! And then they covered it up with their January 6th bullshit! With their insurrection! Because the first thing President Trump did, God bless that man, and I love him, and everybody knows it. I love him more now than I ever loved him, and I loved him pretty damn good.
There is no society anymore. What there is a transnational security elite that is busy carving up the world using your tax money. To combat that elite, we must not petition. We must take it over. We must form our own networks of strength and mutual values, which can challenge those strengths and self-interested values of the warmongers in this country and in others that have formed hand in hand an alliance to take money from the United States and every NATO country, from Australia, and launder it through Afghanistan, launder it through Iraq, launder it through Somalia, launder it through Yemen, launder it through Pakistan, and watch that money in people's blood.
Hey, hey! Move! Down! Give me your hand! Stop resisting! We got him!
9/11 started as commercial insurance fraud. It was known in 1988 that the Twin Towers were condemned because they didn't want to pay the $2 billion to dismantle the buildings the hard way. Controlled demolitions was forbidden. When that was briefed to Dick Cheney as Secretary of Defense, I believe he said, "Praise the Lord, this is going to be a terrorism event that will give us a reason for invading Iraq and Afghanistan." And at that point, the 9/11, which was planned and executed by the Zionists, which is not the Jews, When I say Zionists, I'm talking about what's called the Red Mafia. That's the Russians, Israelis, and Americans who are a criminal network that happens to control Benjamin Netanyahu. It does not control Donald Trump. People don't understand that Trump is biding his time. The NSA is not about solving problems or making America safe. It's about keeping the money moving. The second reason that the program was canceled was because it was starting to reveal all of the Americans who were complicit in 9/11. The problem we have in the United States is that the intelligence community is all about spending a great deal of money doing very bad things. So let's say overall there's about 300 things that the intelligence community should be reporting on. They don't. They report on two things, war and terrorism. And in both cases, they're the ones starting the wars and funding the terrorists.
And finally, Julian, who do you consider to be your number one enemy?
Well, our number one enemy is ignorance. And I believe that is the number one enemy of everyone, is not understanding what is actually going on in the world. It's only when you start to understand that you can make effective decisions and effective plans. Now, the question is, who is promoting ignorance? Well, those organizations that try to keep things secret, and those organizations which distort true information to make it false or misrepresentative. In this latter category, it is bad media. It really is my opinion that the media in general are so bad, we would have to question whether the world wouldn't be better off without them altogether. There's some very, very fine journalists, and we work with many of them and some fine media organizations, but the vast majority are awful and are so distortive to how the world actually is, that the result is we see wars and we see corrupt governments continue on. One of the hopeful things that I've discovered is that nearly every war that has started in the past 50 years has been a result of media lies. The media could have stopped it if they had searched deep enough. If they hadn't reprinted government propaganda, they could have stopped it. But what does that mean? Well, that means basically populations don't like wars. And populations have to be fooled into wars. Populations don't willingly and with open eyes go into a war. So if we have a good media environment, then we'll also have a peaceful environment.
Hey, I got him. Easy, buddy, easy. Oh my gosh, I can't.
When your identity is your ideology, congratulations, you've officially screwed yourself, because now it's not just an idea, now it's you. And when the idea gets challenged, you don't hear disagreement, you hear an attack. So what do? You build a bubble. A nice, soft, padded little bubble where everyone agrees with you, uses the same words, hates the same people, and claps at the exact right moments. And you will defend that bubble at all costs, even if it makes you sound incredibly stupid. Facts don't matter anymore. Logic's gone. Humor? Dead. Because admitting you're wrong would mean admitting you are wrong, and that's unacceptable. So you double down. Louder, angrier, dumber. And that's how you end up defending nonsense like it's sacred scripture, not because it's true, but because without it, you'd have to actually develop a personality.
John Brennan used to do this the Tuesday morning kill list. Did you hear about that?
No.
He would meet at the White House with CIA reps every Tuesday morning, and they would come up with a list of people to be killed that week.
John Brennan had a Tuesday morning meeting to go through with CIA who they're gonna kill that week?
Yeah.
What an interesting meeting.
Yeah, the Tuesday morning kill list meeting.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Let me just, before you continue talking, you're going to go to jail. Because the police here, 99% conviction rate. Shut up.
We don't do anything illegal. You cannot take us to jail. If you are not involved, please go. Shalom, my friend. We bless you.
You're in my country.
You come to the United States, you can say whatever you want to say. That is a free world, yes?
You're not in the United States. You're in Israel.
I understand.
You cannot say whatever you want to say here.
Yes, you can. It's legal. It is legal to preach about Yeshua. We preach at Damascus Gate, the police said it's okay. We preach at Jaffa Gate, the police say it's okay. Please stop. I respect you, respect me.
He doesn't have to respect you.
Huh?
Doesn't have to respect you.
That is the right thing. Are you Jewish? Do you want to honor God? That is the godly thing to do. We respect one another.
The godly thing to do is just to kill you.
The godly thing is to kill me.
That's right. That's
Yes?
what the Torah says.
The Torah says to kill us.
The Torah says that people who worship idols such as yourself, when there is a Sanhedrin,
To kill us.
yes.
Okay.
That's what the Torah
So
says.
we know how the Jewish people feel about Christians, yes? That you
Christians
discriminate
are-
against Christians.
Christians are idol
You
worshippers.
discriminate
the
against
Torah
Christians.
says that Christianity is idol worship.
Now that you're done jerking each other off with a bunch of trophies and participation certificates, here's the truth. You guys don't care about the disabled kids because my disabled son was deaf. You put him in with a bunch of disruptive kids. There was no sign language interpreter, no instruction for sign language. He came home crying from Besser Elementary School every single day he went there because he got into fights with kids who didn't understand him because he was deaf. He couldn't talk. He couldn't sign. You guys left him there. No child left behind my. You didn't want to give up the funding you get from federal and local, so you didn't allow him to get transferred until I came in and went psychotic. Discrimination.
Mr. Porter, would you please refrain from using profanity?
You worthless fucking cunt.
Okay.
You tortured my disabled
Board,
son,
at
and
this
you will
time,
answer for it in a court
I
of
recommend
law.
that-
People like you hamstring their abilities to teach children like mine. You're a fucking disgrace. Fuck you. Have a good day.
The Heard and McDonald Islands got slapped with a 10% tariff. Those are uninhabited islands. There are penguins on those islands, but there are no people. We also got a tariff of 10% on the British Indian Ocean Territory. The only people there are U.S. and U.K. service members at a military base called Diego Garcia. Just to give you a sense of like how thought through this was, they were like, well, we definitely tariff the penguins.
He found a certain bug that didn't fly, it levitated. And this was, he'd put this bug into a little vial or something, and he saw this vial jumping up off the lab table, jumping up and down. And of course this is patently impossible based on any type of normal physics. So he got into this, and he found out that the bug wings themselves were creating an anti-gravity phenomena under certain conditions. And of course what we have here, if you analyze, I think I found the bug. It's actually a beetle. And if you analyze this bug structure, you see a hexagonal pyramid structure array throughout the entire bottom wing of this bug. Turns out that beetles have two wings. The top wing is called a wing cover, and what the beetle does is it lifts this wing cover up, and then it flips out its lower wings, or inner wings. Now the bug cover protects the inner wings, but when it gets excited or something, it flips these other wings out, and it flaps these other wings, and the other wings, the inner wings flap a little, and this beetle goes gyrating around. They can't fly very good, but they sure levitate great, I guess. And anyway, he took a whole bunch of these bug wings, and he glued them to like a Venetia blind structure, and he put it into a little platform he built. So they were all, these bug wings were all covered in here. And he used I theorize he used the wing covers as well as the inner wing itself. There's also a kind of a handlebar on this thing with some controls. You can see the thing a little better here in detail. The controls, I think, had to be manipulated continuously and probably vibrated to create the same action that the bug was doing. There was also down at the base some kind of a lever which I suspect controlled the amount of lift he was getting out of this thing. Anyway, Grebennikov claimed that he could fly this thing or levitate it, and it would go around at almost 1,000 miles an hour. Now you ask, how can that happen? You know, well, he said that there was an energy field that built up around this thing due to this gravity field building up in the platform, and by this thing building up, it built out a force field that basically surrounded him and protected him from the local environment. So even though he was flying at 1,000 miles an hour, you could go, you know, you could be wearing your Sunday best suit and not get it flutter a bit at 1,000 miles an hour. I'm not sure I'd want to stand on something going 1,000 miles an hour that's 2 feet square. But this picture here shows him sitting on the ground, and these pictures are much better if you get on the KeelyNet site. This is the platform with him on it about 3 to 6 feet above the ground, because here's the shadow here down below. Now you could say this is all faked, but if you get into the other things he did with shape, they almost mirror the stuff that I discovered, and it proves, I guess, that there's either two crazy people in the world, or there's two people that have found the same discoveries. So I think that this is a valid phenomenon, and I'll show you why. Next slide is a micrograph that I took of a beetle inner wing. This is at 100x. If you look closely at this thing, you can see rows of bumps all along the bottom of this wing, each row is staggered from the next row next to it, and this is all over the surface of the bottom of the wing. Now, I don't know of any aerodynamic surface that has bumps all over the bottom to help it fly better. If you blow this up to 430x, you can start to see some of this microstructure of the cells that form where these bumps are. The next slide, at 970x, you start to see what these bumps that stick up are. They're hairs, look like hairs or fibers that grow out of the center of these hexagonal cells. And of course, this harkens back to my basic shape power discovery, is that each one of these, because of their shape going down to a point, is creating a magnetic field. And remember, a magnetic field is a rotating piece of vortex in the ether.
Excuse me.
What do you want? I got a husband, so what do you want?
Okay. You also have a flat tire.
Oh, can you
No, call your husband. Okay, make sure it's on low.
This country was founded by dangerous men.
Amen.
And the moment the people in this country cease to be dangerous men, it's going to be the day we cease to have a country. Their whole goal with this philosophy is to teach all men and women that the only end of life is to seek the utmost pleasure and happiness that you can get out of it, because when you die, there's nothing else. That's what they teach. That's what they want you to be. They don't want laws against sexual promiscuity. That's why they don't want families. That's why they don't want marriage. That's why they encourage homosexuality. There's a method to their madness. There's really not much method to yours, because you're operating from a place of ignorance. And until you change that, you're going to be bumbling around, bumping into each other, saying and doing the wrong things, not understanding the nature of your enemy. And if you don't understand the nature of your enemy and the weapons they use, you cannot fight that enemy. You can't fight the battle. You shouldn't even be on the battlefield. That's why you're losing the war.
Most people in the West have no idea what this is, and we need to talk about it. This is the Vajra. It is the weapon of the gods, and we first see this in the Rig Veda. In the Rig Veda, Lord Indra uses this weapon to slay Vritra, a demon snake. Marduk from Babylon also uses this weapon. Zeus also uses this weapon. Tlaloc also has one of these, so does Raijin from Japan. Even Cybele is shown using one of these weapons, so why do we see this all across the world, and why are they always using lightning fighting demons? The most popular video on here is describing the technology in the Vedas, and that's what we will go back to. They were masters of vibration, physics. You see it all throughout their temples. You see frequency design in these step wells, and the temples themselves are giant resonators. Even the particle accelerator at CERN matches almost exactly with the Delwara temple ceiling. Now you know why there's a Shiva statue outside of CERN. Back to the Vajra. Open Vajra, very dangerous weapon, always depicted as such. Closed Vajra contains the energy to be used within for meditation. Vajrayana Buddhism is focused around this. You should probably sit down. If we mirror the Mandelbrot fractal, you get the design of almost every Vajra you will see. If you just replace one side with the Mandelbrot fractal, it pretty much completes the design. Vajra is said to be as powerful as thunder. Resonating with the shape of an infinite fractal is a good place to start for that. The handle lines up with the first 3 bulbs of the Mandelbrot. Each break is characterized by a spiral design. If we go into any border on the Mandelbrot, what do we see? Spirals. Almost always the prongs on the Vajra are depicted with the dragon breathing fire. If we feather the tails on the fractal, that's what the white part is. We get something that looks like fire, lightning, plasma. So how does one turn these things on? I'm not going to tell you, or you're going to go to the dark side, and we're going to have to do battle. Even Elon Musk has one of these on his bedside table. It's quite the secret, and I'm not in the business of giving the nuclear launch codes to children. I'm kidding, because you can't even use it. Here's why. Each one of these weapons is activated by frequency, like Excalibur or Thor's hammer. If you do not have the frequency to match the weapon, it won't work. Eastern medicine uses the frequencies of the body every day, and we know the frequencies of the mind. We can read those. The whole point of chakra science is to sync these up so that your frequency is coherent. This requires mastering the base desires and cultivating the mind. But the failsafe is the heart. Heart is the driver of life. It has its own frequency. If your heart's not in the right place, all of the cool stuff in the higher dimensions is denied to you. If all your frequencies are chaotic, that signal is neutral. If they are aligned, it's amplified. That's how waves work. So artifacts come from a time when this wasn't technology, this was technology. But today, we're too busy arguing who did it first and who gets the credit instead of matching out these simple patterns and figuring it out.
Think about the most basic, common things that everybody has. Eating, sleeping, exercising, the most basic elements. When was the last time, bro, that you were like, I feel hungry, I'm not gonna eat. I'm gonna diet, I'm gonna fast.
On a plane, I can move.
So let me tell you this one, bro. What if what you're experiencing isn't actual hunger? What if what you're experiencing is addiction?
Holy shit, you're right.
You're the Minister of Foreign Affairs a little bit of the European Union. You know that the International Criminal Court asked for the arrest of Israeli leaders, yet you go to Israel and your first words are...
We are very good partners.
What very good partners? In crime? In genocide? In ethnic cleansing? These words are a shame for the European Union. They should never be uttered again.
If you thought the pyramid scans in Egypt were shocking, wait until you hear what they just found under Angkor Wat. LiDAR scans have revealed a massive hidden network beneath Cambodia's most sacred temple. Not just tunnels, circuit-like formations, spiraling chambers, and sealed vaults of a design we've never seen before. But here's where it gets crazy. Angkor Wat isn't just a temple, it's a dormant machine. According to a suppressed set of translated Khmer inscriptions, the site was never meant for worship. It was grown, not built, by an ancient civilization called the Starborn Kings, who arrived not in ships, but as consciousness, traveling on solar winds, embedding their memories deep in Earth's magnetic field. In Angkor Wat, it was one of 4 resonance engines designed to activate during a cosmic alignment, alongside the Great Pyramid of Giza, Teotihuacan in Mexico, and a submerged site off the coast of India. Together, these temples would form an energy grid, a planetary-scale portal meant to awaken what sleeps below. Because buried beneath Angkor is more than stone. Deep under the central tower, LiDAR is picking up geometrically perfect vaults with materials modern science can't identify. And a constant rhythmic pulse, a signal like a heartbeat waiting to restart. Some say it's a genetic archive. Others say it's a stasis chamber. But the elite already know. Why do you think these scans are only now being released? Why are ancient tunnels being reburied after excavation? Because if the truth gets out, it will rewrite history, not just of Cambodia, but of humanity itself.
We do not pass disease from generation to generation. That is a lie that we have been sold because we have an industry that is built around managing disease. Brain fog, ADD, ADHD, OCD, manic depression, bipolar. The history of a genetically inherited disease is absolutely none of those things. We pass on something called methylation. We pass on the inability for our body to take a raw material, a vitamin, a mineral, an amino acid, a nutrient that enters our body and convert it to the usable form. There's no vitamin, no mineral, no amino acid, no protein, no nutrient of any kind that we put into our bodies that is used in the form that we put it in. Everything we put into our bodies gets converted by our body into the usable form. If you cannot make this conversion, you have a deficiency, and that deficiency can be fixed.
The Trump administration, alongside RFK Jr., has just declared all-out war on chemtrails. That's right. They're not whispering about it anymore. They're forming a task force. And they're coming for the planes, the pilots, the scientists, and the shadowy overlords bankrolling this aerial assault on humanity. This is Nuremberg 2.0, and it's happening right now. You've seen the skies. Those are natural grid-like streaks of white, stretching horizon to horizon, lingering for hours like prison bars. Not contrails, folks, chemical trails. We've got the videos and lab reports to prove it in a court of law. Aluminium, barium, strontium. Toxic payloads dumped on us like we're lab rats in some globalist experiment. For years, the government and media have gaslit us, called us crazy, and told us it's just water vapor, while they've been systematically poisoning us. But the people aren't buying it anymore. The mass formation psychosis has been broken. And some big names with great influence are joining the crusade against the psychopaths dropping toxic payloads on us from great heights.
Woody Harrelson one time was at my house and he was talking about this. This was probably 10 years ago. And I was saying, come on, that's ridiculous. That's impossible. And he said, come outside with me. And we went outside and we sat on a hillside and we watched these planes fly in a grid pattern, laying out this, a grid of contrails, and then it turned into clouds and we had a cloudy day. And I don't know, I've looked up many times since then and seen that happening. And I don't have a good explanation for it. But, the things that you're saying are consistent, are internally consistent, and they're consistent with things that I've observed. It's amazing to think that they can keep it that secret that well for this long. But, I've seen them do that with other things as well.
And now RFK Jr., with this relentless crusade against environmental crimes, is standing shoulder to shoulder with the president. And they've got a message. The spraying must stop.
So there's something wrong. There's something wrong. We've done something wrong. There's something, you're going to figure it out. Maybe it's a spray that we spray all over the place that nobody else does. Other countries don't. The Pennsylvania Dutch, they don't do anything, and they're amazingly healthy.
Here's the bombshell. The Trump administration is putting together a task force they're calling Operation Skywatch behind closed doors. Their mission? Identify every plane spewing this poison. Bring them down, safely of course, because there are interrogations to be conducted. We're talking pilots, aviation executives, scientists, and the elite financiers who've been funding this operation from their ivory towers. The task force isn't messing around. And we know for a fact there are FAA insiders, military brass and whistleblowers from the private sector ready and willing to spill the beans. And they're not stopping there. They're using cutting-edge machine learning to scrape X, Telegram, and every corner of the internet for real-time intel, posts, pics, videos, pinpointing where and when these planes are dumping their loads. But here's where it gets real. They're going to need you. This is a call to arms. Every citizen with a smartphone is a soldier in this fight. Grab your cameras, point them skyward, and document every suspicious trail you see. Upload it beneath this post to X and every other social media platform you use. Why? Because that data feeds the machine. The more we collect, the faster we map the patterns, the quicker we catch these psychopaths red-handed. This isn't just about evidence, it's about overwhelming the system with the truth until they can't hide anymore. Even Hollywood is jumping in. And Woody Harrelson isn't the only high-profile name stepping into the Trump administration's orbit with a mission to uncover the truth behind chemtrails. Jim Breuer, the actor and comedian, has joined the fray with his no-nonsense skepticism. Known for mocking mainstream narratives on podcasts, Breuer is alleging that the chemical trails have been ramped up over the last year.
Hey, Governor DeSantis. Today, when I get up in St. Petersburg, it was clear blue sky and I started watching all the planes spraying. Now, I know the FAA knows who's flying. I'm pretty sure the governor can figure out who's flying and spraying and creating these fake clouds in the sky. Look. I even got footage of that plane spraying. So, Governor of Florida and Florida officials, what are we doing about this? And why don't you start explaining exactly what it is? So we have blue sky. Look at all the lines from the planes. I watched them all, and some of them stop spraying after a while and they restart. Can we have an explanation and a stopping of this, please?
Figures like Woody Harrelson and Jim Breuer have played a massive role in waking up millions to the reality of chemtrail operations unfolding right above us. Remember Prince? He called this out before his suspicious death. Now others are stepping up, risking their careers to amplify the truth.
He said something that really hit home about this phenomena of chemtrails. And, you know, when I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky all the time. And so, oh, that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And the next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing and you didn't know why. Okay, and you really didn't know why. I mean, everybody was fighting.
Their voices have sparked a shift, pulling back the curtain on what's really happening in our skies. And we need more of this. More people like you stepping up to spread the word. But it's not just Harrelson and Breuer leading the charge. There's a growing army of truth tellers out there, including some in surprisingly high places. The sun is weaker now, isn't it? That vibrant orange fireball we grew up with is now faded into this pale, pathetic glow. The clouds, once majestic, chaotic, alive, they're now sterile, streaked, like some AI designed them to lock us in a cage. Here's RFK Jr.'s former running mate, Nicole Shanahan.
I was taking the weekend off the internet. I've been surfing this morning and was watching the planes flying overhead, and then I couldn't take it anymore. But that is not a contrail. That looked like it started as a contrail maybe, and now it's turning into a cloud. See how thick that is? You can see this one, it's a little further behind, and this one's a little bit further behind as well. This one is the one that's been up there longest. This shit has to end. This is ridiculous. It's like an otherwise perfect day.
Shanahan is absolutely right on the money. We're talking about crimes against humanity that need to be stopped dead in their tracks, right here, right now. Parents are out there, helpless, watching their little kids gasp and wheeze through brutal asthma attacks. And you know when it's worst? Right after those heavy spray days, when the sky is streaked with those suspicious trails. Coincidence? I don't think so. Meanwhile, farmers are sounding the alarm too. They're reporting crop failures left and right. And it's not just bad luck. They're finding soil loaded with aluminium and heavy metals, poisoning the land we depend on. This isn't just a coincidence, it's a pattern.
The thing that to me that is really kind of, you know, I'm not going to say dispositive, but really hard to explain is that I've seen all of this data about the aluminum concentrations dramatically increasing in national forest lands and other places that are completely remote from any smelter. And as you say, aluminum, unlike mercury, precipitates out of the atmosphere within 100 to 200 miles from a smelter. Oh, if you're on the West Coast and the nearest smelter is in, upwind smelter is in Japan or China, the aluminum, there's no explanation for all that aluminum, those aluminum concentrations in national forests on the West Coast. It doesn't make any sense.
And for what? Weather control? Population control? Some sick power trip? The elite thought they could pull off this forever, untouchable behind their private jets, high-level connections, and offshore accounts. They didn't count on the dam breaking. They didn't think the public would ever go to the lengths of tracking down chemtrail pilots and holding them to account. How wrong they were.
Hi. Yes. Great. Thank you. Good to see you. I'm here. You're Tim, right?
No.
Oh, no.
No. I don't know a Tim.
Jody?
No, don't know. Well, I know a Jody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jody Fisher?
No, yeah, I know Jody Fisher.
You do? Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then who are you?
I'm one of the other captains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So come on outside. Or not. Or just whatever. Are you free? No?
No, I gotta reflare.
Okay, so
stuff, but
I have paperwork for you that I want to give to you. So hang tight, I'll go get it. But then we've been trying to reach Jody and you for a long time.
Okay.
And we are tired of you dumping heavy metals all over our county.
Okay. Well, I'm not the one to talk to about that.
No, but you are. But you're the one that's doing it. So I've been taking rain samples. I have over 20 samples. And every time you fly, we get high amounts of aluminum, barium, strontium, titanium, magnesium. So I want to know, are you aware of what you're doing? I know you think it's like to increase water supply for Turlock and Modesto, but it's not really happening.
Yeah, you can talk to them.
I've tried. I've called them, and they're not calling me back. So we're now getting really involved, and now we're going to bring something legal against your company.
Okay, well, you can talk to them about that for
I know,
sure.
but I want you to know, though, like, we are real people underneath what you're doing. You spray right over our houses. We hear you. We know you. We see you. We're watching your planes and your patterns, okay?
Yeah.
It's twice today now. You did 2 flights. 2 3-hour flights.
It's public knowledge, yeah.
It's not really, though. That's the problem. So you have not properly notified our board of supervisors about this. Hi, are you the other pilot? Yes. Hi. What's your name? Khaled. Khaled?
Yes.
Okay, hi.
It's not our... We have people at home base that you can talk to about that stuff.
But they've not called back. So now we're getting to the point where we're getting our supervisors involved. So the supervisors of our county needs to be notified. They've not been notified. You've been doing this for 30 years. I know it's a long time. You guys are like, it's cool, it's easy. We're talking about all of the metals and the flares that you're using. So aluminum and zinc propel the silver iodide. You're spraying right over us all the time. And our plant life is suffering. They are now selling aluminum genetically modified seeds to grow food because our soil is so contaminated. Okay, so what you're spraying is not good for the environment. And it's not good for the people because there's an early onset dementia, there's Alzheimer's, things are starting to happen to people's health. And I really do believe there's a linkage to what we're breathing in the environment every day. And you guys spray us in November through April. It's your yearly contract. I'm aware of that too. So I just wanted to meet the pilots and say, where's Jody? I've called Jody, talked to, I think Leslie was the other one, Leslie Fisher? No, it's another Fisher.
Yeah, probably his wife.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's their responsibility. That's not our responsibility.
I understand, yeah. But the money that you're receiving to do this is coming from, is it taxpayers that are paying for this?
That's not my department.
I want you to be aware. Do you have family?
Yeah, I have family.
I have family too. I have children. So we're outside and we hear your plane over us all the time. And I've been tracking this for a long time. And we have tried to get the supervisors involved and they're clueless. They were not informed. According to the California codes and law, they should have notified our supervisors because you're doing this to benefit TID. Okay? But it's not. It's happening over, well, it might be, but it's happening over our area. Okay? Sonora, Groveland, Coulterville. You're doing your little figure eight loops. My 20 rain samples will show you that on the days that you're spraying, or releasing your flares, we have copious amounts of aluminum, magnesium. There's been some barium, strontium, but titanium's weird. Is titanium also in your flares? Okay, that's unique for me. So I want you to know that there are health impacts and impacts to the soil and the plant life, all of those things. And when you do this, my whole community's watching. We don't know what to do.
I understand your opinion.
It's not an opinion. So I will show you my samples.
I don't want to see your samples.
Why is that?
You can take those to my
farm. You're flying the plane.
Aviation insiders, pilots who've flown the missions, mechanics who've loaded the tanks, air traffic controllers who track the grids, they're coming forward in droves. One pilot, anonymous for now, told investigators he was ordered to fly patterns over rural Ohio, releasing what he was told was aerosolized weather stabilizers. He quit when he saw the lab reports. Aluminium levels 50 times the safe limit, and pathogenic viruses in aerosolized form. Another whistleblower, a former executive at a major contractor, leaked documents showing payments from a web of shell companies tied to, you guessed it, some of the biggest globalist foundations in the world, the Gates Foundation and Soros's Open Society Foundation. And then there's RFK Jr. He's been screaming about this for years, connecting the dots between big pharma, big agriculture, and now big aviation. He's got binders of testimony, and he's handing them straight to Trump's team. He told us he was going to go after chemtrails from day one. Working behind the scenes, that's exactly what he's done.
And on day one, we're going to declare an emergency like we did in COVID. But it's going to be a chronic disease emergency, and we're going to get the fluoride out of the water. We're going to get the chemicals out of the food. We're going to get the chemtrails out, the chemicals out of the chemtrails.
The base is fired up, and the momentum's unstoppable. Now let's talk Nuremberg 2.0. The task force isn't just grounding planes, they're building cases. Prosecutors are dusting off laws about environmental terrorism, crimes against humanity, and even treason. Picture this: CEOs in cuffs, dragged before a tribunal, forced to explain why they thought they could poison us and walk away. The trials will be public, we are hearing, and the evidence undeniable, thanks to you. Every photo you snap, every video you share, is a brick in the wall of justice. But the overlords aren't going down without a fight, they're scrambling. The word is that private jets are fleeing to non-extradition countries, and PR firms are spinning climate necessity lies to the mainstream media. But it's too late. The people are awake and the fury is boiling over. So here's your mission. Don't just listen, act. Hit the streets, watch the skies, and flood social media with proof. The task force needs every data point, every witness. If you've got info, times, dates, plane IDs, tag us on X. You're not just a bystander, you're a warrior in this reckoning. The elite thought they could choke us out from above. They didn't expect us to fight back. So let's prove them wrong.
We're going to get the chemtrails out, the chemicals out of the chemtrails.
It's very frustrating to know this has been going on, to interview the father of weather weapons before he died, Dr. Ben Livingston, who they were controlling hurricanes in the 60s, certified secret government documents that had been declassified. That's why I had him on.
I'm the first person to ever see a cloud with the intention to cause it to do military damage.
The Army's need to know more and more about weather that surrounds this planet is a vital part of the expanded research program of atomic weapons. We all talk about the weather. The Army is doing something about the weather.
We physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War.
But there weren't any real clouds around. This was the end of the monsoon season, but there were a number of these small clouds that barely reached the freezing level, and by putting a small amount of silver iodide in there, we got them to collect and start to build. My main contribution at Corona was to write a plan for weather modification control for the whole world at any given time. We could send a number of airplanes with the materials and dispensing equipment we had, and probably control the weather all the way around the world. We were the first ones to fly into hurricanes for the purpose of modifying them, if you will. That was Project Storm Fury. I began to be extremely confident that we could do about what we wanted to with a hurricane. The Project Storm Fury had been going on since 1961, and they had already done two experiments, one in 61 and 63. Well, by 1964, when I was there in 1964, I wrote the plan and started to have a track and a mission for every flight that was on the hurricane cloud seeding experiments. So we had documentation for everything.
The climate engineering transmissions are 10 times more powerful than the frequency transmissions for communications. So all of this is part of the problem, and manipulating wind flows as well. And that's key. We see it happening right now with the severe weather outbreaks happening in the U.S. As manipulated flows of moisture are being migrated in from the western U.S., chemically nucleated, creates a cold, dense layer of air on the surface. As they push that eastward and it collides with manipulated moisture from the record warm Gulf, and those two air masses collide, you get severe weather, which creates unstable atmospheric conditions, which creates cyclonic rotations. The cyclonic rotations that are being spawned right now are from conditions that are directly connected to climate engineering. That doesn't mean a specific cyclone in a specific location, but it means the overall region that has been set up for a spawning ground for tornadoes, and that's inarguable. We can argue the motives and the agendas, but the fact that climate engineering is manipulating conditions that are spawning these conditions is inarguable.
Fourth generation farmer, and they are finding in the land that we've had for so long in a 100-year-old farm, things that they have no idea or reason why things should be in the soil. I'm talking bacteria, I'm talking different acids, pH levels, but it's all come from what falls out of the air.
1998, which was the warmest year ever recorded up to that point in time. That's when they coined the term climate change instead of global warming, because they knew they'd be causing these flash chemical cool downs. The vapor pressure deficit is the respiratory pores on crops, trees. They shut when conditions are as we've just described. So they don't uptake carbon, they don't release oxygen. We don't have anybody in the environmental community discussing this and the effect from climate engineering. So again, hypocrisy from the environmentalist community, leaving out all these pieces of the puzzle.
Ben, why hasn't there been a lawsuit against the government for not stopping these hurricanes?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I really don't understand why, because the government certainly has reneged on its responsibility to the citizens of the country to protect them.
There's no hiding from this issue. I want to state that. You cannot put this issue in the rearview mirror like you can so many other issues, and people choose to ignore it if they can. Can't ignore this. This is pounding the nails into our collective coffins by the day.
So here's a challenge for you. Beneath this coffee cup is an impossible shape. It's an impossible shape because it will fit through each of these holes in this metal frame. I've got a triangular hole, a circular hole, and a square hole. The shape beneath this coffee cup is going to fit through each of these holes. And not only that, I'm not going to have to force the shape through the holes. It's going to fit snugly. It's going to fill the entire hole. It's going to touch the inner edges of each of these shapes. So have a think about what that might look like. Let me show you. This is the impossible shape. If I turn it around, you might begin to see how it could fit through each of those holes. If I turn it in this orientation, it's going to go through the triangular hole, just like that. If I turn it around like this, it's going to fit through that circular hole. Again, look, it's filling the hole completely. And finally, if I turn the object like this, it'll go through that square hole. It's the impossible shape. Did you figure it out?
I really felt it when Nizar Qabbani said, I wished for a love. The love lasted, but the lover left. Seeing those who left you in a dream is the most painful kind of meeting. Now I see why it's a tragedy when a mature mind and a romantic heart are in the same body. I learned not to love deeply until you make sure that the other part loves you with the same depth. Because the depth of your love today is the depth of your wound tomorrow.
I go back to Colorado, 1909. Dr. Clark, well-known physician, talks about how vaccinations are the cause of cancer. I have never seen a case of cancer in an unvaccinated person. Interesting. Then we're going to go back to 1887. St. Saviour's Cancer Hospital recently says that vaccinations are causing cancer. Interesting. Let's go back even farther. 1885. Vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate. There's money in it. Money in the side effects. Look at that picture. People knew. Now we're going to go back farther. Year 1880. Smallpox. Misinformation. Remember that word from the pandemic if you didn't take the experimental jabs? So then I went back to 1799. Dr. Jenner, remember him sticking people with the smallpox vaccine? Look at this, went through the roof, and then all of a sudden people started dying because of that jab.
One of the people that I met in Arkansas, his son-in-law is a mechanic. And they sent him the specs and the components. He built the thing in his shop. It took him 5 hours to retrofit an internal combustion engine. He sends back to his uncle, says, well, I don't know how it worked, but I hooked it up and it worked. And he put the gas analyzer there in the exhaust pipe and saw for himself. They turned the technology on, and within about a minute, instead of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, methane, and other hydrocarbons coming out, they've all gone down to just a small percentage. Some of them we've even zeroed out. And what's coming out is like 20% oxygen. Optimum atmospheric levels of oxygen that you would be breathing in a pristine, unpolluted, natural environment. That's what's coming out of the exhaust.
Wow.
George got down, and we're joking about how George Howard was huffing the plasmoids. Yeah.
Wow, man.
What do you see as the biggest challenges in conservation?
The growing human population. Because if where we are, there's nothing else.
And do you have views about what should be done about that?
Can't you guess?
Or epidemics. I mean, I don't know what it will be. But in one way or another, we are so far, globally, we are so far above the population and the consumption levels which can be supported by this planet that I know in one way or another it's going to come back down. So I don't hope to avoid that. I hope that it can occur in a civil way.
We cannot hide away from human population growth because, you know, it underlies so many of the other problems. All these things we talk about wouldn't be a problem if there was the size of population that there was 500 years ago.
And then after that, we've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
so what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. But if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
You brought up some issues that others are reluctant to bring up.
Always. All the religious groups are against me because I'm talking about population. They want more souls. I want less on the planet.